Sure. So I think in that sense, consumer behavior for a laundry-led brand like UClean has changed quite significantly in the last 4 months, and it has directly reflected on the consumer profile that has been visiting the stores pre-COVID versus post-COVID, and it also has a direct bearing on the sales that we have had. But what we have seen very consistently across the board, across all the 55 cities that we are operational in right now, and even for an international territory like Kathmandu, is that the importance of cleaning has changed dramatically. So, till about 4 or 5 months back, I would say cleaning was a very unglamorous industry. So, from a franchising perspective, also, it took us a lot of hard work to convince someone to jump the fence and invest in a cleaning led unit. That has changed. So we are getting a lot of organic leads. So as an example, the number of franchise inquiries that we are getting on our website today as compared to say about 4 months 5 months back has increased by almost 50%. Now when I talk about our direct consumer, which is a family member or a household that is availing our services, so the sales, while they have gone down, so our stores on right at this point in time, we have almost 70% of our stores open. 30% are still in areas where you have the lockdown. So these stores are reporting sales which are anywhere between 60 to 70% of what they were reporting in February and January. But one very interesting trend that we have been observing is that uh, there are a lot of new customers that are getting added. And when we did a deeper dive, when we interviewed them, what we realized is that a lot of these consumers are people that were before COVID affiliated to the dhobis. And if you know the way the dhobi culture works in India is it's very uh, generational led. So, for example, the dhobi's grandfather would be serving my grandfather. His father served my father, and now he's serving me. So typically, you have a very strong relationship which just goes beyond money. So it is very difficult in some cases to break that bond and get them to use an organized service like UClean. But now because of COVID-19, we are seeing that a lot of customers which till about 4 months back were affiliated to the dhobis, all of a sudden they want to use UClean because there is suddenly uh, a fear. There's a fear that there is no transparency with the dhobi. So you don't really know where the clothes are getting washed, how are they getting washed, what are the kind of machines or chemicals that are being used, or overall what is the process that is being used. So till 4 months back, that was not very important. The only thing that mattered to the customer was that the price point would be relatively lower than a UClean, and more importantly, they would be having a relationship which extended for multiple years and multiple generations. But the same customer today is very concerned about the safety, about the hygiene, and he's concerned that not getting the clothes washed in the right manner could end up getting the family infected with COVID. So this is something that we have found very interesting and I would say very encouraging, where a lot of new customers across India are getting added to the UClean stores.
Great. No, I also feel that, because it's an interesting times. I think you would have grown, the acquisition that you've taken for customers to do in past 4 months, you would have taken probably another year or a couple of years for them to turn to you as consumers. So understandably, that times have helped you, but how your business model has changed. Has the pickup and drop increased drastically, or you see that happening later and you're getting equipped for the same and your franchisees are also doing the same?
So yeah, while we have always been predominantly a pickup and drop based business, almost 95% of our business today is pickup and drop based. But what we have seen is that there is an increased demand for contactless pickup and drop. So customers do not really want to interact with our delivery boy. They would leave their clothes outside their home for the delivery boy to come and pick them up and then deliver it back at the doorstep itself. They would not want a face-to-face interaction. They want to do digital payments, so they're opting for credit cards, they're opting for Paytm, and they want a pickup and drop, which is 100% contactless. And at the same time, what we are also seeing is that a lot of these customers are proactively calling us on our call center number or directly to the stores to understand what has UClean done differently to meet with the COVID-19 situation. One thing that I feel is working in our favor is that out of the necessities of a home, which is basically jhadu, pocha, bartan, and food. Jhadu, pocha, and food is something that people are still afraid to outsource because you have to immediately use them. So if you're cooking the food, it is not that you can keep it in the refrigerator and eat it after 2 days. Or even if you're getting a jhadu or pocha done, it is not that you will leave the floor like that for next 6 hours and not use it. But with clothes, the advantage is that you can get the clothes delivered to your doorstep and then not wear those clothes for the next 4 days. So in that sense, this is one service that we are seeing people. We did a lot of surveys also, and the people we realized that people are more comfortable outsourcing laundry as compared to the other chores of the house, which are more taxing in some sense. But at the same time, the customers are not comfortable outsourcing those other services.
Okay, no, that's great. So I think you're doing that way, an aggregator of these work for. So now coming to you, Arjun Mohan, you know that education has always been the most franchised sector, you know, not just in India, worldwide. In fact, there was a time when 33% of the education franchising happened in education industry. So, and online learning, of course, you know, has now become like a mainstream education. So how do you see franchising growing in edtech sector?
Yeah, sure. Am I audible? Just to check.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So first of all, for the viewers, and I'm sure you are aware, Ashita, about my company, but I just want to give an overview to people. So Upgrad is the largest higher ed online company in the country today. We have been predominantly focused on PG. That is, we have been doing PG certification, diploma, and master's program, which means our focus has been predominantly working population. That's what we have been doing. Now, a big change happened in this, the last budget. Government of India has opened up the entire UG and PG space to something called as online education. So this is a new animal which has been created, wherein the universities, the UGC approved universities, are allowed to deliver their course completely online. You can sit at home and take your BBAs, BCAs, MBA, MCA, BCom, any course you want. Upgrad being in this segment for really long gives us a huge advantage to really help in achieving the whole fact, which was the reason why we started this company. The fact that India should not go away from enrolling because of two reasons: affordability and reach. I mean, smallest small town does not have best colleges, right? So, I mean, people like us, or if would say, Aruna has gone to IITs, but how many of us get that reach or affordability to go there? So we believe that online can really change these things, and hence we think this whole online education jurisdiction can be a game changer. So what we have done is that we have tied up with some of the best universities in the country, and we are going to launch these courses moment UGC approval comes out. Now, Upgrad, and for that matter, any of the new generation edtech, has unfortunately stayed away from franchising for quite some time, because see, this thing, franchising, in my opinion, is an idea of creating more and more entrepreneurs. It's a philosophy wherein you are letting off your control and building off more entrepreneurs, right? And unfortunately, Indian edtech space, fortunately or unfortunately, always had a lot of money and did not wanted to go out giving out part of their margin so that growth can be faster and create more entrepreneurs. So we have tried to change it. Beginning of this year, or I would say last year, last financial year, we have started franchising. We have tied up with a few franchisees across the country and started this whole experimentation of starting a retail store and seeing how it works. What I have realized, and this is more like the pandemic pushed us to do, what we have done after the pandemic started is we have really become a true online company in every sense. From a product which was purely online, we have become an organization which is purely online. Every one of us is working from home. We are doing our sales from home. The marketing campaigns get set from home. The product shoots happens at home. The product creation happens at home. So we thought that then why are we asking franchisees to have a retail outlet? They can also work from home, right? Their employees can also work from home. Why do we really need it? And hence we have been working on this franchisee, we call it as the channel partner model, wherein they are also remotely working on getting more and more admission to our courses. So the redefinition has been, it's a truly online model where we have deployed CRM systems using which leads can be shared to our franchisees remotely. They can do the calling through telecalling or through a face-to-face video systems, and convince the lead on a digital space itself. So with this, in 30 days, we have onboarded and started working with 100 channel partners in a matter of just 30 days. Okay, because what we realize, as you were saying also, is that there are a lot of people who want to be part of the education journey. What was missing was an opportunity to go there, both in terms of a product portfolio and in terms of an infrastructure portfolio. We believe that we were able to do that. So we are on board with them. We have started working with them. We have started the customer contact with them, and it's going really well. What we would like to see is to take it to an end-to-end model and make them completely independently working as entrepreneurs who will be adding to our ecosystem. So this is what happened, and it's a very recent thing. I mean, the reason why I thought I'll come and speak here is because I wanted to see if I can get feedback to improve this model. Number one, because most of you people have been doing this for years. Number two, if there are interested parties, we really would like to work with them in future.
Sure. No, both ways. I think it's very interesting, Arjun, because as you've rightly said, that since the time the government has allowed that, it has opened doors for a lot of people, not just in A-class cities. And you've rightly said people are, though they can afford to go to IIT, but for that, you need a brain like that also to go to IIT. But, apart from that, I think education is being restricted because of our education system. Yeah. So everybody was not able to get their hands on it. But now, since, companies like yourself is giving them a platform to do so is a big thing. And I think a franchisee or a partner or a channel partner, like you call him, I think he can be a very good business partner in getting this to a next level, So I think, yeah, it's something that makes sense for him. Of course, an entrepreneur has to dig deeper into what is there for him when he's at a doorstep. But yes, certainly. But I think it is grown well within these timings.
Yep,
great to hear that. So I'll come back to Shashidhar, to you. Unlike other businesses, mobility somewhere has taken a severely, they've got impacted, within this pandemic. So apart from essential services or logistics or, things that we saw moving out, was still moving, but, mobility came to a standstill, kind of that situation. So how are your market and consumer has changed? And how are you now focusing on, so to say, a B2B as well as a B2C sector that you're eyeing on it?
Thanks, Ashita, for having me here. Great. Contrary to what the narrative is, Ashita, mobility earlier was a luxury, now it became a necessity. I tell you how. Even before pre-COVID, in the pre-COVID situation, there has been massive shift in the consumer sentiment, behavior, predominantly because of two main reasons. One is the fact that the huge spike in the prices of the two-wheelers, because the government regulations have made BS6 emission norm vehicles to be introduced in the market after March 31st, 2020. That means a lot of consumers who are buying the same Activa for X rupees now had to shell 1.3, that means 30% more for the same Activa. As a consumer, you and me, a 30% or 20% spike in the same make model year, if you see the complete look and feel of the vehicle will be the same, only the engine will be different. Consumers in India are very, very value and price conscious. And second fact, soon after the COVID situation hit, there has been a huge trust deficit in the public transport. People are fundamentally not believing in the public transport at all. And secondly, all the shared mobility companies which were going all over the place in last 2-3 years, at least in major cities like Bangalore or Delhi, have fundamentally seen their market dried up just like that. Just like Thanos, tip of a finger, the entire market vanished. Because people don't have two major problems, Ashita. One is no public transport. Second, the second best option that you see in the market, which is an expensive second-hand way, expensive two-wheeler, is out of their bounds. And third most important thing, which we'll come to understand the impact, is on the job losses, on income uncertainty.
Yeah.
All these factors put together has really brought a new set of customers to the second-hand bike segment. With that kind of a beginning, let me introduce my company and myself. Credar is India's largest and most trusted two-wheeler consumer brand. We only sell and buy second-hand bikes. By bikes, I mean both motorcycles as well as scooters. We have operations across 9 cities. We predominantly operate only through franchising model. If you ask me among everyone else, I think I can safely assume that we are the best mix of online to offline hybrid model, where we need a very strong franchisee support to build a business all over the country. And with that kind of a narrative, Ashita, let me address 2 main points that you have just raised. How is mobility has changed? Before pre-COVID situation, the mobility was all about how do I go to my office, how do I go to my college. So people are looking for cheapest option to travel. Now, after lockdown 1.0 or unlock 1.01, 2.0, and I don't know how many numbers have come across, people are fundamentally trying to understand how do I go back to work? How do I earn my bread and butter? There are very, very few business models or very few employment roles where you can work from home and still make money. So people are stepping out of their home. And when they step out of the home, barring a large chunk of the population still depends on private mobility. Since they were using public transport earlier, or were trying to do something else like shared mobility, they had to look for a private mobility. And India, mark my statement, we are the cheapest private transport option available to any consumer, period. I think that's what makes us very proud, because we are not only relevant to a farmer in Medak district who wants to go to the nearest town 200 kilometers away to buy fertilizer and seeds, as much as relevant to a mother in New Delhi who wants to go to the nearest shop for buying groceries because she no more trusts the situation, to a office goer who now have to go back to his office and earn his income, bread and butter. I think it makes us really very happy that we are playing a small role in the aspirations of a lot of Indians who really can't afford to buy a brand new bike, not because they can't, but the value arbitrage between a used bike and a new bike of same make model of year of just 12 months itself is around 30 to 40%. I think we sit in a very, very important value-driven consumer brand, which requires the massive support of on-ground franchisees to help our business grow faster. So to that context, Ashita, contrary to a lot of other beliefs, mobility is no more luxury, it's a necessity, because people have to step out of their home to earn their income, to earn the bread and butter. They no more can have the luxury of sitting like you and me into business online. And this is one segment I believe will go on to make a huge impact in days to come, because this is as much relevant to tier 1 cities and as much in tier 2 and tier 3. If you have seen a couple of our news stories that happened over a period of last 2-3 weeks, people from small towns like Palwal, Medak, Karimnagar, people are searching online. I think this online searching bit has really caught up with all these consumers, because having stayed in home for last 2 to 3 months, their only port of call was mobile and search. People are searching online and they're discovering us, and they're trying to see if we can provide them with a second-hand vehicle at their doorstep. From a model standpoint, I should take the luxury of asking the question. From a model standpoint, I think this is one of the only business segments wherein our franchisees are very happily selling the goods to the consumers by even shutters keeping down. Because in a city like Bangalore and Delhi, we have seen up to 30 to 40% jump in customers ordering the bike online and getting delivered to their home. And these bikes are predominantly coming from the franchisee showrooms. So do you ask me, franchisee showrooms, if any, have really benefited from this pandemic, because they no more have to open the showroom. They don't need to have a sales executive in the showroom selling the vehicles to the incoming customer. I think that shift, we believe, may not sustain the same percentage, but even if 10 to 15% of the customers we are able to sell online, the franchise will really be very helpful because his ability to scale the business will be much, much, much better compared to the operational cost that he incurs.
True. I think, yeah, taking a point from there, I think they would coexist. So I think, entrepreneurs like yourselves and, CXOs like yourselves, you have to devise a method, wherein you address the inquiries of a consumer both from a online and an offline standpoint, because you've got buyers in both ways. Like you're saying that people are ordering secondhand bike online and getting it delivered. So I think that's something, that you're already seeing a change in the business model. So rightly, I think we all have learned in past, good or not so good, last 100+ days that this has to happen and we have to live with it. So great. So now come back to another interesting opportunity. This is for you, Harshil, that, food service industry has changed dramatically. So we have cloud kitchens, delivery have become so a mainstream business model in this space. And so, the question is from you, that do you see franchising in food delivery models, becoming important?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
if I may say that it's become a new so-called QSR of food business.
Yeah, it will be. Now, after COVID-19, means restaurants means are no more means in working condition due to high rents and everything. So we are having just now 8 kitchens working in Ahmedabad, Vadodara, Anand, Indore, Gandhinagar, and now we are coming up with 8 more at Jaipur. Then we are having at Pune. Means this market will means like this living a change in our lifestyle where everyone is scared to go out and put themselves at others at risk. This is the exact time when I think we should push the idea of cloud kitchen where the safety is the #1 priority. By this, we not only reduce the risk of spreading novel coronavirus, but provide a guarantee of consistent and best quality of food at every outlet that we have.
Yeah, interesting. So you feel that it's an interesting opportunity, because I also feel that it's a very interesting opportunity for people, like you said, that the rentals of so-called retail area is not something that they have to do. The only thing they have to do is keep consistency, keep the quality up to make sure that you have your repeat customers to a maximum percentage, and of acquisition of customers, which will happen through aggregators also, like food delivery aggregators in the market.
Yeah, basically the food is prepared in a central kitchen, then it has been retort and then it is packed. Retort means basically is a system where the food is sterilized and it gives you a shelf life of around 6 months. And after retorting our food, it get a 6 months depending on the food items. This sterilized and packed foods will be shipped to all the means kitchens or the outlets. Next come how we use to our products well, and let me means I can hear you, madam.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All that need to be done is to open the packed food, heat it, and on the induction heater or oven, or garnish it and sealed it, and food will be ready to go. This will have a great benefits, like it will be a chefless kitchen, so no zero skilled staff will be there. All will have a team of 2 members only, and then that should be enough to handle the workload. It is also a flameless kitchen. And so no gas connection is required, 0% wastage is there, and because since the food will be packed in a measured quantity and divided in the portion, every ounce of food will be served to the customer. We have roti and Indian bread making machine also, so it is guaranteed that least human touch is involved. Again, a safety measure after COVID. Bas.
Sure. Great. Interesting. So that's an absolute and asset light model with no, specific location needed. So I think that's a very interesting thing that has come up. Now, another thing for you, Arjun Deshpande, that I understand that during this time, not that healthcare was not important earlier, but somehow it has become a so-called a top priority, today for people, and people are looking for more and more natural or herbal, cures, if I may say so. And you being particularly, I want to say this vocal for local for you, is being a more larger so-called business mantra nowadays. So how are you in generic Aadhaar seeing this, using in your expansions for your business, and how do you think it's more relevant in these times?
Yeah. Thank you, Franchise India, for having me here. So at Generic Aadhaar, we have already disrupted pharma industry. Disrupting industries such as pharma, which are decades old, will help in franchisee model to prosper and grow very quickly in every part of the country. Because as you currently refer, healthcare was not a priority. But from my personal belief, healthcare or the medicines are not a luxurious expense. It is a basic necessity of every Indian. So at Generic Aadhaar, we are ensuring every Indian in every corners of India. So from Generic Aadhaar is growing from Jammu to Kanyakumari and Kutch to Arunachal Pradesh, and we have planned to have our own franchisee outlets in every cities by mid 2021. Around 10,000 franchisee outlets will be operational. In 2-tier cities in urban areas or 3-tier cities as well. So because we are uplifting the local single retail outlets who are facing a huge business competition in today's global market from big medical malls and online pharmacies, we are taking them under our brand of Generic Aadhaar, and we are giving a real life to empower at the local level. Because a single medical store owner or who wish to set up a new franchisee setup of Generic Aadhaar, they cannot have all the infrastructure to give all the necessary medicines to the end customer. So at Generic Aadhaar, we are taking all the products directly from the WHO GMP facilities, and we are giving to the end customer via our franchisee outlets. So in Generic Aadhaar, I have created an ecosystem wherein it is an B2B2C venture. So herein we are taking all the software. Now our online application is going to come. So from online, people can directly buy medicines from our online application, and they can get to our fastest delivery from our nearest outlet. So people can directly go to our franchisee and get the medicines over there, or they can use the mobile application for the same. So this is with Generic Aadhaar, I'm also targeting the noble cause, because in India there is really, from my last CNBC interview, CNBC have reported 60% of Indian people till date also are not getting medicines which are necessary. So my main mission and my main vision is to reach that 60% and make that percentage to zero by reaching every villages. So that is my main intention. So all the range of products in Generic, high quality products we are giving to the end customer directly. So in 100 cities by mid 2021, we are expanding very rapidly, and in each city we are having over 100 outlets. So that is the model which I have created, because by mid 2021, the pharma industry and the healthcare industry is really changing. The budget of every Indian citizen due to the COVID or the household expense are really increasing. So that is the reason we are focusing to give the healthcare accessible and affordable to every Indian. So that is the reason. And when we are talking about the franchisee model, so at franchisee model, every franchisee owner can get the benefit. So when franchisee owner will be growing at the local level, definitely company will be growing at the national level. So that is the thing we are doing over here. Yeah. Your voice is breaking down.
Ashita, you're on mute.
Sorry, did we miss anything on me? Yes, I was saying that, it was very interesting when I knew that Mr. Ratan Tata also has joined hands with you, and I think that was a great honor in understanding, how passionate you are about your work and how do you feel about it. So I think that's something which is commendable, and I think the work that you're doing will certainly help. And I think for franchises also, for which I'll come back to for that question for them as well. The association should help them as well to grow. So, I'll come back to you, Abhishek. That I love the the indoor gardens. So from that I would start by saying that the indoors in homes have become vital in our lives. I would say probably we have stayed home so much in past 4-5 months. I think you all would agree with me that probably have not in past 1 year. So somehow, there's a renewed importance of better lifestyle, better quality of life. That everybody is seeking now. I feel so, including myself. So, how is your business model meeting the need of the customer? Having said that, we've started loving our homes back. You're on mute, Abhishek.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
First of all, thank you
Yes.
for having me here. It's an honor. So yes, as you rightly said, the awareness amongst the consumer have increased related to hygiene and immunity. Over here, most of you might not be knowing what OxyGarden is all about. So let me just give you a small brief about what OxyGarden is. So OxyGarden is a clean tech company with a mission to provide natural solutions to sanitize and oxygenate the indoor air. The three pillars that we stand on is self-sustainability, technological advancement, and environmental friendly. And how did I come to this idea of OxyGarden is through my love of yoga. I was living in Delhi, and you know the pollution levels in Delhi. After each and every yoga session that I do, I felt pathetic. I felt this is not the right environment to do yoga. So I thought of fixing it. I started from my room, and then I looked. I took out the entire list of pollutants present in Delhi's air, and there was not even a single solution available in the market which was catering to all those pollutants. I looked for electrical air purifiers, dehumidifiers, humidifiers, but nothing was close to the solution. So then I came across a study done in 1989 by NASA to establish a perfect environment in International Space Station. So then that study concluded with only plants are the natural ways through which you can have a perfect environment at home. So, but plants also come with certain issues like they're difficult to maintain, they're less effective, they take too much space, they need sunlight, watering, etc., etc., etc. So then the value proposition needed to solve that problem was of air purification, humidification control, and indoor oxygen production. Then we came up with this product, as you can see on my back. This is OxyGarden Forest. It is India's first air sanitizer. It has a grow light. It has 50 plants in it. It has a 75-liter water tank. So by these features, it is a combo of self-sustainability. Then we have aided these plants with some artificial technology. So we have air fans, we have an artificial humidifier and dehumidifier in place, and we have placed some synthetic filters as well in it. So as a result of which, we were able to cater to a space of 800 square feet. Each unit produces 700 liters of oxygen. We maintain the AQI level below 50, and we maintain the relative humidity level inside the room as well through this. Now, what is the need of franchising, the thought of franchising? We are a very new organization. We are just 6 months old. We started our operations in January 2020. But as you're saying, the general Indian mentality is like कि 2-3 साल एक जगह set up करो, फिर उसके बाद try to expand. But I wanted to break that myth, as I have previous experience of maintaining business at multiple locations simultaneously. So I knew I can do that. So the reason that we went for franchising is we needed an experience store. It's a 60,000 product, so people before buying it, they need to see it physically, they need to experience it. So we need a high-end experience store for the product to sell itself. Then we need an efficient and personalized installation, maintenance and servicing, so that we maintain so we keep a connect with the end user throughout the process. And the third and the most important point is rapid geographical expansion is the only entry barrier that I can see. Though we have filed patents and the art of growing plants is unique to us, but rapid geographical expansion is one thing which can create an entry barrier and which will help us grow as a brand OxyGarden. And so no traditional model fitted our Oxy Garden business. So we need to innovate on the franchisee model as well a lot. So the first innovation that I'll talk about is a green self-sustainable studio. So each Oxy Garden experience store will have more than 500 plants, all self-sustainable, no human maintenance will be required. The second innovation was needed in the supply chain. We have perishable plants in our product, so we needed an innovation in the supply chain as well. And by this, like we have implemented a unique distribution channel by which we have reduced the transportation cost by 66%, and the chance of damaging the plants is reduced by 99%. And the third point is AI and IoT implementation. So we have in the future products we are planning to implement AI and IoT. So to keep a check on the functioning of the product as well as on the performance of the product. And then the fourth point is extensive use of insurance. I think use of Indian market has neglected the use of insurance throughout. So we have used insurance in each and every aspect of our business in order to minimize the damages and the losses that can occur to it. And the fifth point is minimizing the conflict of interest between offline and online sales channel partner. So suppose like we have tied up with Croma, we have exclusive partnership with Amazon and Flipkart. So even if a user buy a product from Croma or from Amazon or from Flipkart, the fulfillment will be done by the end franchisee. So each and every franchisee will be exclusive to an area, no matter from where the sale is coming from. So this is what we have planned for our franchisee business for future.
Sure. That we've started liking our homes and offices more than ever. We need more oxygen and more of a career. So I think yes, it's an interesting innovation in today's time, which is much needed. And I think that's for you, diversity can work as a major opportunity, because these are the times when people have suddenly realized that this is missing. So you've rightly put it, that acceleration in business is something which is needed, and something if addressed, I think it's good for everybody. So now I understandably have realized that we are into a panel wherein we have diverse opportunities, but all of these opportunities are somewhere strategically fit into the environment that we are in today. So it's for all of you. I think we can, you guys can answer me and to our audience one by one, but this is for all of you. That how do you see your concept? And I understand that, the time is less, so we'll have to probably crisp it out for the answer, but would still like to understand from you, how do you see it, from a 4 parameter standpoint for a franchisee? How do you feel that your product and services strategically, operationally, financially, and from a marketing point as well, how does it fit to a franchisee in today's times? We can start with Aruna or Arjun.
Okay, I can go first then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I would say COVID or no COVID, education is always relevant and is part of the large, is a large part of the wallet of Indian customer. But yeah, in the current world, online education has become more and more relevant. I don't think till the end of 2020, even the offline space has any other option in education than going online. So hence the hence it becomes both strategically and financially very relevant for a franchisee partner. Absolutely no question about it. I think on the other aspect of the marketing aspects, that's where we should be clear what is the role we as a brand play in, and what is the role a franchisee plays in. I think the whole business partnerships should be very clearly defined. We should be clear about what will be the role of the franchisee, especially on the marketing space of it. I think the brand marketing, especially on the ATL space, is something which the brand should take it as its responsibility. We should not be outsourcing that part to the franchisees, because it's a scale game. A franchisee will never be able to do it. But at the same time, there are certain local aspects, the BTL aspects of the marketing, which franchisee can play in. So that, I think it's more of a process and policy thing where we have to clearly define it out. See, we should all realize that we are in a new world. Things are becoming apparent. Rules are getting rewritten day after day. So we should be also open to an iterative approach wherein we should be open to give and take and improve in the way, seeing the larger picture. That's how I will put it.
True. And if we are true to our relationships, we must grow together. I think if that's the mantra that we follow, then all of us grow. And I think, you're in such a concept that it would help everybody. Professionals like ours, particularly in today's times, again, whether COVID or not COVID, we need updates like a software. So if that's not, we are absolutely outdated. So those are one of the essential services.
Yep.
And a good takeaway from a franchising standpoint.
Absolutely. Consider them as partners.
To add on from your... Sorry, please go on.
Yeah, just to come in here, Ashita, I think in our segment, which is a highly touch and feel category, a franchisee plays a really pivotal role in able to sell the final concept to the consumer. In last 3 to 5 years, if you have seen franchisee businesses, not only in India, but globally have matured to a greater level, wherein the roles and responsibility of both of them are very clearly out. Like Arjun Mohan rightly spelled it out, saying that anything which is scalable will come under the ambit of the brand. Anything which is more like localized and hyper localized comes under the ambit of the franchisee. So mobility was always the prime necessity of any consumer, because you have never come across any human being who says, I don't want to step out of my home, I want to glued myself inside the home or office. So by that consideration, mobility was always there on the minds of the consumers as the top one priority. And if you see in terms of valet share, after house, bike is the first largest purchase for any consumer in his life, whether it's a student or a working man. So in that regard, we play a very prominent role in the minds of the consumers. Coming back to used second-hand bike segment, given the current conditions, a new set of customers who are fundamentally using either public transport or trying to buy a new bike or were opting for a shared mobility have started migrating to us. So the franchise's role is absolutely really very critical, at least in our business, which has a lot of touch and feel. But we coming out with the online models wherein we can help franchisees reach to a larger set of audience and larger geographical spread because of our technological innovation and our marketing powerhouse. I think we are in a very lock and key model wherein both partners have to understand their roles and responsibilities very well and try to do their best to capture the larger market segment.
True. And, this is very much in tune, Sashidhar, with the question, that multiple people have asked, that how the, franchising business prosper post-COVID as work from home is becoming more common. People are not really, willing to go out. I think that really goes well with that question. So, Arunabh, would you want to answer that as well? Because that question is for Uclean as well. That I'll repeat myself, that how will franchise businesses prosper, in this environment where people are largely at home?
Sure. So in many ways, I think with what has happened in the last 3-4 months, where we have seen a spurt of layoffs, where we have seen a lot of businesses getting closed down. So we would see a lot of people who were hitherto employed by someone else. They would now want to take that entrepreneurial leap for 2 reasons. One, you don't have enough job opportunities out there in the market. And the second is there is a huge sense of insecurity associated with jobs. So something that till about 4 months back was typically associated with entrepreneurship, which is the sense of insecurity. Now, all of a sudden, that is also associated with a job because you are no longer sure how long you would be able to retain that job. And that is what we are actually seeing a lot in our business also, wherein a lot of inquiries that are coming from people who till a few months back were working somewhere and they got laid off or are on the verge of getting laid off or are on LWP right now. So I think in that sense, franchising is a very good fit, because if you have been laid off or if you're on the verge of getting laid off, it is not logical that you will all of a sudden come up with an entrepreneurial idea and will start up a venture of your own. So obviously the next best thing is to get into a franchising space where you're actually going to learn and actually going to borrow the learnings of someone else and try to implement it. So in a sense, your investment is safeguarded, your investment is secure. And if I talk about our industry in particular, uh, our industry has always been treated as an absolutely unglamorous industry. And I'll give you a very interesting anecdote that has happened recently. So about a couple of years back, we had a prospect from Rajasthan, a very young lad of about 24 years age, who came to the office, who met us, who liked the idea. And he went back saying that he would sign up the next day. He would go back home and ask his father to transfer us the token money. The next day, we waited, we tried to act pricey. But by the end of the day, we got really desperate. So we called him up and he said कि सर मुझे तो सब कुछ अच्छा लगा लेकिन पापा ने बोला कि सोसाइटी में लोग क्या बोलेंगे कि तुम धोबी बन गए हो, रिलेटिव्स क्या बोलेंगे धोबी बन गए हो. So that was the end of the discussion. About a month back, that same guy called up along with his father, and his father himself said that he's now very convinced about the cleaning business because he feels that cleaning business is the only weapon against a pandemic like a coronavirus or COVID-19. And that is why he would want his son to take up that franchisee. So he's now already a franchisee in the system and his store is about to go live towards the end of this month. So I think people are very quickly now realizing that the glamour that typically was associated with a lot of other industries that I would not like to name is not the only factor towards becoming profitable. And given that people are now very conservative about investing, so people want to invest in a business where there is a certainty that this business would prosper in the times of corona. So I think cleaning industry, obviously online education and healthcare would be 3-4 such industries which should see a lot of boom, especially in terms of franchising.
True. There's another question, Arjun, for you, Arjun Deshpande, for you, about generic Aadhaar. Is that, how do you, what is the pace on which you're taking expansion at a national scale?
So basically in India, if as a one nation, we can say there are around 10 lakh plus standalone pharmacy stores. Okay, we are only targeting in the first phase 10,000 of them. So there is a huge opportunity and the market size is really big. Every household, if nowadays what our stores are operating, every senior citizens, when they get the pension, at the first day, they don't go anywhere else. They come to the medical first to buy their monthly medicines. Okay, so that is the main thing we are focusing on, to save the pension holders money and to save their hard-earned money on medicines. So that is the thing. Generic Aadhaar is expanding very fast. We are giving the benefits to the master franchisee. We are giving master franchisee at the city level. Under him, all the franchises will be working. So that is the thing. That is the reason we are giving the benefits to the franchisee. At the same time, customers are happy because at the national level, we are doing awareness by various mediums. And now people from every corner of India, in Odisha, not only from Rajasthan, Gujarat or Madhya Pradesh, nor Delhi, in every corner like Srinagar, Jammu till the south, every city people are approaching generic Aadhaar. From last 3 months on our website, there are around 60 lakh plus visitors only inquiring for the franchisee and the master franchisee. So I personally feel generic Aadhaar has already have created a brand and a presence in India for the end customers. They have a trust on generic Aadhaar. So that is the reason we are expanding so fast. And now Honorable Ratan Tata sir have also joined hands with me for such a noble cause because he himself always wants that Indian people can get a good and affordable healthcare.
Yeah, true. So that answers our investors. So that was the question on a live session. So there's another one for you, Abhishek. Somebody wants to ask that can we have understanding of this can happen in any area, or this has got any standardized areas where you can do it for customers?
It can happen in any area, and this unit is like a refrigerator. You can just keep it anywhere. It's a plug-in and play product. So
okay.
You can keep it anywhere in your house. Just fill in the water and plug, and just give it a power source. Nothing to do for next 3 months.
Okay. Now this another question. In fact, that's they've written all your company's name is that how do you So if somebody becomes a partner for you today, how do you support him in training? Who wants to answer that?
Okay. Okay, so we'll be providing proper support. We have developed a training manual for it, and
No,
we'll
so
be
they're asking, do you do that online or because obviously it has to happen digitally. So
yeah,
they're
right now,
particularly asking.
Right now it will be online, but as soon as the franchisee opens up the store, we'll be going there and we'll be training the staff handheld as well over there. With both ways.
Okay. It's actually for all of you. So if you can tell me one by one, how do you do it? If somebody becomes a partner for you today, how are you managing their trainings and starting up?
In my case, it is all online. Every single thing is online, including training. So we have see, the problem is that, especially with channel partners, you can't expect to go on a train and forget model. It has to be training, then let them do it. There has to be, so what we have done is we have mapped channel partner account managers at a ratio 1:10. So what they do is they do a daily check on the operations. Are all the leads reached out? Is the call recording of the pitch correct? And based on that, the feedback is given. This is a daily process and it is checked for at least a week or two whether everything is fine. Otherwise, it is very, very difficult to go on. You cannot work on a model of train and forget. That's a recipe for disaster, in my opinion.
True.
Great. In our case, Ashita, we have been in the market for the last 5 years. So we have fine-tuned all the standard operating procedures that is needed to onboard a franchisee, how to train him, what to do, what not to do. So there is a huge list of library that we built, but we have simplified depending on the area where we are operating. So we have introduced a lot of vernacular support. We also introduced different modules on how to speak to a consumer depending upon his profiling. So to answer your question, a lot of this course material or all the standing operating procedures are either delivered to our central office or they have been delivered by our local staff that is stationed in each city. So given the condition that we have, in fact, in last 2 months, we have opened 2 new showrooms, one each in Bangalore and Delhi, and everything was delivered online. The effectiveness still has to be seen. But having said that, like what Arjun Mohan rightly said, train and forget doesn't make sense. You train, you see how they are coming up, and there is standard feedback mechanism also that we have built internally, wherein whatever we teach them, whatever we train them during onboarding, we keep testing once in every 2 months to make sure that the compliance is as good as it gets. To answer your question, online we are doing that. The effectiveness is still yet to be proven, but we believe with the constant train, evaluate, and train, we would be able to do what we are trying to do on an offline basis.
Yeah, interesting. And for you, Arunabh, how does it go for you? I see your outlets opening up.
So we actually have an outlet opening up in Kolkata. Speak sixth launch post the lockdown. So it is definitely a challenge. I would admit that given the kind of business that we are in. But what we have done is we have utilized the lockdown period of almost 2.5 to 3 months to create what we call a Uclean Virtual University. And what we have done there is that we have uploaded a lot of videos, right from the way the pickup is done to the way the machines are operated to the way the clothes are put inside to the way how you segregate the clothes. And then these have been uploaded on a internal website that we have created. So every franchisee that comes on board gets access to that particular Uclean University. He can download all the videos from there beforehand, before any online training is provided, so that he already has a flavor of how the business works. And then virtual training is being provided over Zoom calls on an almost daily basis. So in that sense, I would say the amount of time that we're investing in the training is actually gone up as compared to what it was about 4 months back. But at the same time, I would also admit that I still don't feel that we're only 80% there where we were when it was pre-COVID and the training was being imparted face to face. But as I feel that the show must go on, so the launches need to keep happening, because there are a lot of franchisees that had signed up pre-COVID and who still want to go ahead, who still believe in the power of the industry, and hence it's important to keep training them and making sure that they go live as soon as possible.
Yeah, interesting. We actually are very short on time. I'll have to cut it close now. But it is really nice having all of you on the panel. And we have some more questions. I'll probably personally forward it across to you to answer to all of our visitors who really want to understand from you. And I would suggest, please, we have our virtual show going on. Please do visit that as well. And thank you so much for sharing the information. I would, I loved catching up with all of you and with a lot of learning on how franchising is growing within your companies. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great meeting.
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.